You're standing on your tiny balcony right now, just 2 square meters of concrete and railing, staring out at the city noise, and wondering how in the world you're ever going to grow enough fresh food to feed your family. Without a real yard or a fancy greenhouse or any of that expensive nonsense they push on you in the stores. The wind rattles the railing, and you feel that familiar frustration building. Because every time you try the usual way, you end up with a few sad leaves or wilted plants that barely make a salad, let alone fill lunchboxes or dinner plates month after month. You didn't fail, friend. The common flat pot gardening method failed you because it wastes every inch of vertical space you already have and leaves you stuck buying produce that costs a fortune and tastes like cardboard. But here's the twist that changes everything, and it's so ridiculously simple and cheap that the big garden companies and seed sellers have tried to bury this kind of forgotten knowledge for years because it works too well and costs way too little to keep you hooked on their system. Imagine turning that same small balcony into a thriving vertical food factory that pumps out over 50 kilograms of crisp vegetables, herbs, and even sweet fruits every single year. And you can do it for under $150 total with stuff you can order online or grab at any hardware store. You feel that spark of excitement yet? Because this isn't some complicated setup with pumps or lights or timers. It's pure, old-school cleverness using every direction up, down, and sideways, so your 2 square meters multiply into the space of a full garden bed. You start your journey the same way I did, by gathering the simple pieces that make the magic happen, and you don't need to break the bank or drive around all day either.
You pick up those 4 5-tier vertical planters that stack together like sturdy green towers, ready to reach for the sky, and they cost you just $48, but feel solid in your hands like they're built to last through seasons of wind and rain. Next, you grab 2 wall-mounted pocket planters, perfect for herbs that hug right against your balcony wall for only $18, and you can already picture the fragrant leaves brushing your fingers every time you step outside. Then those 8 hanging baskets with soft cocoa liners come home with you for $24, and they sway gently as you carry them, feeling light yet strong enough to hold heavy soil and cascading plants without a worry. You add a 10-foot roll of tough paracord or hanging chain for $8 that you'll use to secure everything safely, and it's the kind of rope that makes you smile because it reminds you of simple backyard fixes your grandparents used. 6 large 10-gallon grow bags slide into your cart for $15, and they're flexible and breathable, so roots stay happy even in the smallest footprint. 2 big bags of high-quality potting mix blended with compost run you $22, and when you open them, the rich, earthy scent hits you like a promise of abundance right there in your hands. A pack of seeds and seedlings for lettuce, kale, spinach, cherry tomatoes, strawberries, and beans costs just $10, and you feel that thrill because these little packets hold the power to feed you all year long. Finally, some zip ties, hooks, and small shelf brackets for $5 finish the list, and when you add it all up, it's exactly $150 total, a number that still makes you shake your head in amazement at how little it takes to break free.
You carry everything home and set it out on your balcony, the morning sun warming the materials as you begin the build with a smile. Because this is your moment to reclaim that self-sufficient life they told you was only for people with big yards. You start by positioning the 4 vertical planters in the corner, stacking them one on top of the other, like building a living skyscraper, and you feel the pieces click together, snug and steady, creating instant height that turns dead space into growing gold. The towers rise up before your eyes, and you step back for a second, just taking it in. Because already, your balcony feels bigger and more alive with potential. Next, you loop that strong paracord through the 8 hanging baskets and secure them along the railing and overhead spots, letting them dangle at just the right height so they catch the sun, but stay out of the way of foot traffic. You tie each one with care, feeling the rope bite into your fingers a little as you pull it tight, and you know this setup will laugh at strong winds because you've anchored it like the old-timers did, with nothing but simple knots and determination. Then you mount those 2 pocket planters right on the wall using the hooks and brackets, pressing them firm against the surface so they become vertical pockets of green that you can reach without bending over. The grow bags slide into place at the very bottom layer, forming a solid base that catches any stray water and adds even more planting real estate right at ground level where the roots can stretch deep. You zip tie and hook every connection, checking twice because you want this system rock solid for years to come. And as you work, you picture your family tasting the harvest you're about to create. With everything in position, you start filling each level with that rich potting mix and compost, the soil cool and crumbly under your hands, releasing a deep, earthy aroma that makes the whole balcony smell like a secret garden. You press it down gently, layer by layer, making sure no air pockets remain. And you water it lightly so the mix settles into every nook and cranny of your new vertical wonder. Now comes the planting part that feels like pure magic as you choose what goes where to squeeze every possible kilogram of food from this tiny space. You begin at the bottom grow bags with those cherry tomatoes and strawberries, tucking the seedlings in deep so their roots grab hold. And you can already imagine the sweet red fruits dangling heavy and ripe within reach. Moving up to the middle tiers of the vertical towers, you plant leafy greens like kale, spinach, lettuce, and Swiss chard, spacing them just right so they grow thick and lush, and you know you'll be harvesting handfuls every week without ever waiting for a full head to form. The wall pocket planters become your herb haven, where you nestle basil, parsley, mint, and thyme, their scents mixing in the breeze as you pat the soil around each one, and you smile thinking how these will flavor every meal from now on. Up in the hanging baskets, you sow bush beans and peas, letting their vines trail down like living curtains that produce pods you can pick fresh and snack on straight from the plant. You mix and match the varieties across the layers so something is always ready to harvest and nothing crowds out its neighbor, turning your 2 square meters into a nonstop food machine that laughs at the limits of ordinary gardening. As you step back and look at the full setup, the towers, the pockets, the hanging baskets, and the bags all bursting with potential, you realize why this forgotten vertical way delivers over 50 kilograms a year, when a flat garden on the same footprint might give you only 8 or 10 at best. Every single inch works for you now. The walls, the railing, the air above, and the floor below, multiplying your growing area 5 or 6 times over without needing 1 extra centimeter of floor space. You feel that rush of freedom washing over you because no more relying on store prices or wilted produce flown in from who knows where. This is your balcony, your soil, your harvest, feeding your family straight from the railing. You feel that rush of freedom washing over you because no more relying on store prices or wilted produce flown in from who knows where. This is your balcony, your soil, your harvest, feeding your family straight from the railing. And the reason this tiny space can deliver so much is the vertical magic you have created. You use height with the stacked planters, airspace with the hanging baskets, walls with the pocket planters, and the floor with the grow bags. You multiply your 2 square meters into the equivalent of a much larger garden. And that is how you hit over 50 kilograms every single year, while others struggle with a few kilos in the same space. You stand there in the morning sun, looking at your living food wall, and you feel the excitement in your chest, because it looks abundant, it smells fresh and earthy, and you know it is working for you every day. The leaves rustle in the breeze, the tomatoes start to blush red, and the herbs release their scent every time you brush past them. This is not some dream. This is your reality now. The maintenance part of the journey is where you keep the abundance flowing, and it is ridiculously simple, just like the build was. You create your own drip watering system using a few recycled plastic bottles that you prepare in 5 minutes. You poke small holes in the bottoms, fill them with water, and hang one above each section so the water drips slowly and steadily right to the roots. You only refill them once a week, and that is it. Your plants stay perfectly hydrated without you spending hours watering by hand or worrying about dry soil when life gets busy. You feel so clever using this old trick that the mainstream forgot. You feed your plants with rich compost tea you brew yourself.
You take compost, put it in a bucket with water, let it steep for a few days until it becomes dark and nutrient-packed. Then dilute it and pour it around the base of every plant every 2 weeks. You watch the leaves get bigger and greener almost overnight, and you smile because you are nourishing your food the natural way, without expensive bottles from the store. The plants respond with stronger stems, more flowers, and heavier harvests, because they are getting exactly what they need from your simple homemade brew. Harvesting becomes your favorite part of the day. You practice the cut and come again method that the old gardeners knew so well. You snip the outer leaves of the kale, spinach, and lettuce, leaving the center to keep growing, so the same plants keep producing for you week after week and month after month. You pick ripe cherry tomatoes that are warm from the sun and burst with sweet flavor in your mouth. You pluck strawberries that are redder and sweeter than anything you can buy. You gather young bush beans and peas from the hanging baskets that add fresh crunch and protein to your meals. The herbs from the wall pockets you pinch fresh for cooking, and the aroma fills your kitchen, making every dish taste like it came from a fancy restaurant, but it came from your own 2-square-meter balcony. You avoid the 4 common mistakes that cause so many people to fail at small space gardening. You never overcrowd the planters, giving every plant room to breathe, so air flows freely and diseases don't take hold. You make sure every container has excellent drainage, so water doesn't sit and rot the roots. You stay vigilant for pests and use natural solutions, like planting strong scented herbs nearby or a mild soap spray when needed, instead of reaching for the chemical stuff they want you to buy. And you refresh the soil with additional compost between seasons, so the nutrients stay high and your yields don't drop off.
When winter comes, you are ready with simple protection methods that keep your food factory running. You drape light row cover fabric over the vertical towers and hanging baskets on cold nights, letting the sun in while holding a little warmth around the plants. Your leafy greens keep growing even when the temperature drops. If it gets really freezing, you bring the pocket planters and a couple of hanging baskets inside near a sunny window for a short time, and the harvest barely skips a beat. You never have to stop completely because you planned ahead with these easy, forgotten tricks. Now comes the payoff that makes all the work feel absolutely worth it. You walk out onto your balcony one bright morning with your harvest basket in hand, and you start picking. In just one short session, you fill it with over 4 kilograms of fresh, beautiful produce. The cherry tomatoes are heavy and sweet. The strawberries are juicy and fragrant. The leafy greens are crisp and full. The herbs smell incredible. You carry that basket inside to your kitchen, feeling proud and excited because this food came from your own hands on that tiny balcony. You repeat this week after week, all through the seasons. By the end of the year, you have harvested more than 50 kilograms of real, fresh food straight from your 2-square-meter balcony. 50 kilograms. That is salads for months, herbs for every meal, fruits for snacks, and vegetables for dinners. Your family eats better, you save hundreds of dollars on groceries, and you feel that deep sense of freedom and self-reliance that comes from growing your own. You no longer worry as much about rising food prices or the quality of store produce because you have your own vertical food factory right outside your door. This is the kind of practical, forgotten knowledge they tried to bury because it works too well, costs too little, and gives you too much independence. You proved it is possible. You turned a small concrete balcony into a thriving food producer. And now you can show your friends and family how to do the same. If I can do it on my small balcony, you can do it on yours too.
no matter where you live. So what are you waiting for? Go gather those materials today. Spend under $150. Spend one afternoon building it. Plant your seeds and seedlings with care. Maintain it with the simple methods I showed you. And watch your balcony turn into your personal food factory that feeds your family all year round. Drop a comment below right now and tell me what you would grow first on your balcony. Tomatoes? Leafy greens? Strawberries? Herbs? I read every comment and I love hearing your plans and your excitement. If this video lit a fire in you and made you believe you can grow a lot of food in small spaces, please hit that like button hard and subscribe to the channel for more videos on cheap, practical, no electricity backyard and balcony solutions that real people can use. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. In the next video, I'm going to show you how I built a $120 chicken coop that can survive minus 20 degrees Celsius winters, so you can have fresh eggs even in the cold months without any electricity or fancy setups. You are going to love how simple and effective it is. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. You are the reason I create these videos to help regular Americans and Europeans like you take back control over their food and their lives with simple, forgotten skills. Keep building, keep growing, and keep moving toward that self-sufficient life one small project at a time. I'll see you in the next video, friend. Happy planting and stay free.